ideally should be grown directly into its location where it will grow in the vegetable garden. But if you you can start them off early indoors using something like a biodegradable fibre pot, such as the one we have here. Now, the reason why carrots are best sown directly into the soil is because they are a root crop, and root crops do not like disturbance to the roots and do not like to be transplanted. So I'll just show you, here are two carrots that we've already sown earlier, about 6 weeks ago these were sown. So we're going to show you now the process involved in how to sow your seeds indoors. So the first thing you need to do, take your fibre pot, and as you can see this is quite a deep fibre pot. It's about 9 centimetres, 10 centimetres in depth, which allows for good root distribution and minimal root disturbance. So you want to fill your fibre pot with potting compost. So I'm just going to take this out now and just pour it into the fibre pot. So one thing about carrots is that there's a carrot really for every time of year. You can grow carrots all year round and harvest carrots all year round. They're generally divided into two different groups. You have your early or your main crops. Now early carrots generally take 12 weeks from time of sowing to harvest, and your main crops will take about 16 weeks. So you'll find your main crops are a bigger carrot. They require more space and they require deeper beds to grow in, as the roots can grow a lot deeper. So now I filled my fibre pot with compost. Just going to pat it down and take out any large lumps. So you want a nice friable, crumbly textured soil. Let's give that, just break off these pieces. So tapping it down just compacts the soil, but never press it down. Give it a good soaking in. I'm just going to use a 1.5 litre pressure sprayer just to soak the compost. Okay. And then we're going to take out our seeds and sow them into the pot. So, which you'll see with carrots is they're a very tiny seed. It's very hard to be overly particular about how many seeds you sow. But ideally carrots should be sown thinly, which means spaced as far apart as you can, not putting too many in together at the one spot. So I have here about 10 seeds in my hand. I'm just going to pinch a few out and just distribute them around the pot, so you have about 7 at the most in your pot at the end. Now, as I said, carrots are best sown directly into the soil where they'll grow in the vegetable garden. When you're doing that, just create a fine seed bed, put a string line down so you have a very neat row, and sow your seedlings, your seeds thinly. Generally you want to sow maybe 3 every 7 to 10 centimetres apart. You'll then have to come back later and thin them out. So now I have in this fibre pot I've sown about 7 seeds. I'm just going to lightly cover that with compost. Okay, give that a light covering. You want about 2 centimetres of soil over the top of your seeds. They can be slow enough to germinate, but after 2 to 3 weeks your seedlings should have germinated, and then a further 2 to 3 weeks later your seedlings should have reached a size such as this here. Now obviously we have far too many seedlings in this pot, so what I'm going to do now is show you the process involved in thinning out seedlings from your fibre pot. So what you want to do is just select the healthiest seedling and keep that there in your pot. So we can remove all of these side ones. Okay. So that we're left simply with just one seedling in the centre. So you just want to just pull out and find which is the healthiest one. Trying to minimise disturbance to that one, and just remove the side ones from your pot, just like this. So it seems like a cruel process, but really if you had all these carrots growing on top of each other, none of them would develop a root system, and therefore you wouldn't have a crop. So that's the reason why we just thin out to one seedling, such as that there. So that was the healthiest carrot. So he's going to then be allowed to grow on and develop a bit more before we transplant him out into the garden. Now what you will do before transplanting is just be sure that the weather is suitable for transplanting on. It needs to be warm, the soil needs to be warm. The soil also needs to be well dug over so that the roots can develop. The soil again should be light, free of any rocks or stones. Therefore the roots can develop long so you have a good harvest. If you're going to transplant out, be sure to harden off your indoor seedlings before planting. That would mean leaving them out in your vegetable garden for about a week before sowing them, just to get them used to the daytime temperatures. Bring them in each night. Okay, so there's our seedling tinned out. Now we have all of these tinnings here, and simply what you must do with all of these is to gather them up and dispose of them. It's very important that you don't leave your tinnings or all of your leftover seedlings lying around your vegetable garden or your polytunnel, as the very small seedlings have the ability to attract the carrot fly, which is the biggest pest of the carrot. So that's it really. I think that's the entire process. Again, we have another one here that we can tin out for you. So what we've done now is we've shown you the process involved in how to sow your carrot seeds indoors, and then following on the process involved in tinning out your carrot seeds like this. You just want to select your healthiest carrot, okay, and it'll be possibly not necessarily the tallest, but the one that has developed the best foliage, and we'll remove all of the side ones. Again, so you're just leaving one seedling in the pot. Okay. So it's a really toss up between either of them. They're both looking quite similar and healthy, but you can only leave one seedling. And there you go, that's the second one done. Again, all of your tinnings have to be gathered up and removed, and that will prevent the attracting the carrot fly pest. So that's it really. That's the process in how to sow and tin your carrot seedlings indoors from thegardenshop.ie.